Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So I was talking to my friend from home yesterday and he was telling me that he got a little fish tank for his daughter and they have a Betta. And the picture he sent looked like what I would guess maybe a 2-gallon tank, and it just has an artificial plant and an ornament. But, you know, just having the Betta fish alone in it, I suggested maybe adding snails and some live plants and maybe shrimp. And she was excited about snails, so I'm going to send some. I'm going to send some snails and some plants. So I'm showing this. This is my 40-gallon planted community tank. And all different types of snails are in here, so I'm going to plant them out so they can see and maybe decide what they might like. So this right here, that is a ram's horn snail. There's a couple of them. There's one right there, one behind it. So, you know, basically they're ram's horn snails. Their shell looks like the horn of a ram. And all throughout, these are Malaysian trumpet snails. So these snails will burrow in the substrate. And there's lots of them in here. So there's a good look at one, you know, I guess more like kind of like a trumpet horn. And right there, yep, there's another ram's horn snail right there. Right here, that is a bladder snail. And I'm going to move on to another tank that has ram's horn snail, so maybe we can get a look at a bigger one. Alright, this is a ram's horn snail in my 10-gallon guppy on their hybrid tank. You can see it up close. So there's the shell, and then its body that's kind of pink. There's lots of them in here. And let's see. There's some up top over here. Alright, and let's go to another tank that has more bladder snails. Alright, this is my 3.5-gallon wild guppy on our hybrid tank. This one has a lot more bladder snails. That's what all these are. So you can see the little tiny little antennas of that one. I can see glass, and yeah, those are all bladder snails. And this is subwassertang. This is one of the plants I had in mind to send them. So it doesn't require much. It'll be fine with low lighting and just like a little 2-gallon aquarium kit that they have. I think it would do well in, and you can just drop it in the tank and just kind of let it settle on the bottom. Alright, and let's check out some of the other plants that I have in mind to send. So this is my 29-gallon swordtail community tank. Lots of swordtails, pandagars on the bottom. And from here, this is Anubias nana. You can see some of the roots attached to the piney wood here. But this is a plant that will do well. It's known as a hardy plant. Doesn't require any significant lighting demands, and can clip a piece of this off here. It doesn't grow fast, so it can settle in a little tank. And also we have Java fern. similar in a sense to Anubias, that it's doesn't require heavy lighting, doesn't have a lot of demands, and it's a hardy plant. So we can clip off some of this. So just to point out, see how these plants are, this is attached to the wood here, and this is grown above. This little thing, part of the plant here, called the rhizome, and on the Anubias here. So those cannot be below the substrate. That will suffocate the plant. So that just has to stay above. Like these roots that grow down, it's okay for them to grow into the substrate, but this part has to stay above. And going in a tank with a Betta, these are the type of leaves, because Bettas will kind of rest, so these are rigid, and even the artificial plants that are sold as Betta plants, like Betta beds, they're modeled after Anubias plants, so they can, they're rigid and it can settle on that. And more Subwasser tang in here, so seeing how that is, so some of that can be dropped in the tank. And maybe another plant. We're going to go to another tank to see that. So here's my other 40-gallon community tank, and I'm thinking maybe this is Cryptocorin lutea. This is one of my most prolific, hardiest plants. I have it in numerous tanks, and it was, relatively slow growing and should be pretty hardy. I think good. So this, you would plant the roots into the substrate, and cryptocorin plants can kind of die back in the beginning, but then they can regrow back. If this is something for a little tank like that, they can kind of put right in the center and let it grow. And one other thing we can check out. Alright, so this is my 5.5-gallon aquarium, my red tank. I haven't shown this tank in a while, but there is a colony of shrimp in here. So I wanted to show these, because I did mention shrimp as a possibility, but she wasn't interested in that. But maybe looking at them, because they are kind of cool. They're tiny. Basically they look like little tiny lobsters, which are kind of cool looking, and I think they, little Betta aquarium. So see, look at that. Even in here, that's an adult. Here's some babies, little tiny shrimplets. So you can see this little one right here. So like the Betta could eat those, those could fit in its mouth, but with that Subwasser tang plant, the little shrimplets could hide in it. So yeah, there's several in here. Around. But yeah, so I'll let them take a look at this video and see if they would be interested in some shrimp, because if I'm going to send a package, I can include those as well. Alright. Well, that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.